It was noisy on the night of August 5th to 6th at the border between the Sumy region of Ukraine and the Kursk region of Russia. Columns of Ukrainian armored vehicles crossed the Ukrainian-Russian border. The airspace was under the control of drones. Communications were choked by special equipment, and the first clashes began. For the first time since World War II, the regular army of a sovereign state invaded the generally recognized territory of Russia. This became a real turning point in the Russian-Ukrainian war, and a shock for the Russian leadership and the whole world. According to the Wall Street Journal, Ukrainian assault groups needed only 3 shots from a tank to overcome the Russian defense line on the border, on which Moscow spent millions of dollars. It consisted of well-fortified company strongholds, real fortresses of several hundred square meters, and as well as lines of reinforced concrete pyramids called Dragon's Teeth. The Ukrainian army is expanding its zone of control every day. Today, 74 settlements are under our control, and the heads of the attacked Russian regions report to a noticeably nervous Putin about the evacuation of hundreds of thousands of local residents. One of the symbols of the operation was the small town of Syrskyi. About 6,000 people lived there before the war. 100 years ago, during another, the Russian Civil War, for almost a month it was the capital of the Ukrainian Soviet Republic, proclaimed by Vladimir Lenin. In those same years, the Ukrainian Ottoman and anarchist, called Batko Makhno, translated from Ukrainian Father Makhno, conducted his military raid on these same places. History is cyclical. Now Ukrainian soldiers are on these same roads again. But the cavalry of the early 20th century has given way to modern tanks, armored vehicles, and drones in the air. In Ukraine, it is widely believed that these territories are inhabited by an indigenous Ukrainian-speaking population. And indeed, Ukrainian soldiers in this Russian region communicate with local residents in Ukrainian, who respond to them in the same way. You speak Ukrainian. Although I'm not Ukrainian, I speak Ukrainian, yes? So, glory to Ukraine. Glory, yes. An elderly woman named Lida is a resident of the Kursk region. She is now 95 years old. When World War II began, she was 10 years old. In her old age, she sees the second war in her life. And here is her answer, also in Ukrainian, to the question regarding war of Russia against Ukraine. How old are you, Grandma? 95, right? 95. Have you survived the Great War too? I survived. Could you ever imagine that Russia would go to war in Ukraine? May they die 1,000 deaths, my son. Some people are desperate. They cannot leave the combat zone because local Russian authorities and officials have disappeared. They abandoned us all. Our leader is a bastard, a real beast. We don't know where she went. An idiot. However, in other villages, local residents calmly film Ukrainian armored vehicles passing by and are not afraid of the Ukrainian army. Ukrainian soldiers act confidently. They have months of professional training and extensive combat experience behind them. In response to the actions of the Ukrainian army, Vladimir Putin and the Russian commander in this direction, General Alexander Lapin, are throwing untrained 18-year-old conscripts who just got up from their school desks into the meat grinder of war. They surrender to the Ukrainians in dozens and already in safety talk about the tactics of their commanders. General Lapin, who the captured Russian soldier speaks about, has been destroying the civilian population of Ukraine for years with the approval of Vladimir Putin. This is what Ukrainian cities look like when they are constantly shelled with heavy multi-ton air bombs, missiles, and artillery. One can only guess about the losses among the civilian population in these ruins. The appearance of Ukrainian soldiers near Kursk was a response to this daily terror of the Russian army. Trying to create a buffer zone between the Ukrainian civilian population and armed Russian soldiers, the Ukrainian army entered Russia. And it does not intend to leave the occupied borderlines.